What's good, everybody? My name is Kalen, and I'm joined by my co-host Luke, and this is the Huddle Break podcast. It's a Friday afternoon, and we're closing the end of June. I can almost taste the football season, man. I'm so excited for this season. It's crazy that it's already about to be July, which means it's already about to be August, which means football's about to start. How you doing today, Luke?
I'm good, man. This is part of that year where everything just starts flying by, and it's like it feels like the beginning of summer was just yesterday, and now it's like everyone's talking about freaking school coming back and of course football. It's really that fun time of anticipation. You still got some fun playoff games and other sports and different stuff like the Olympics coming up, but I really like where we're at right now.
Yeah, man, this month has flown by. I started my summer classes the very first week of June, and I'm already done. Like my last assignment's done, due on Tuesday, and it's crazy. I feel like I just blinked and everything went by. But, I cannot wait for football, so I'm happy it's kind of going by fast. But anyways, we've got a awesome slate of stuff to talk about today. We're going to start it off with some NBA and NHL talk. Then we're going to be ranking our top 10 QBs going into 2021, which is something that I've been excited for since we first started even talking about doing this podcast, And we're going to finish this podcast off by giving you guys our top 5 fantasy football guarantees. So we're just going to be dropping 5 players we think are just going to be guarantee fantasy plays. Luke and I are huge fantasy guys. This is the first time we're talking about it on the show, actually. And I think we're both really excited for it. We love fantasy football. We're always doing DraftKings, FanDuel, season-long ESPNs. So if you're interested in that, we'll definitely be talking about that a lot in the future and also today. But anyways, let's just hop right into our first topic. We're going to be talking about the NBA games that are happening already. We got the Milwaukee Bucks versus Atlanta Hawks. Game 2 is tonight at 8:30 Eastern. Hawks lead 1-0. Where do you see this game going, Ray?
I mean, I think it's going to be a really good series. I think a lot of people sort of just think that the Bucks were going to run through the Hawks, but dude, Trae Young is playing out of his mind. It's amazing, dude. And not just Trae, I think it was a combined 34 rebounds that Clint Capella and John Collins both had. John Collins dropping 23 and 15, and Clint dropping, I believe, 14 and 19. And it was really impressive. That Hawks team is gritty. They play good defense. They can shoot the three. They can get you in foul trouble. I want to pick the Hawks at this point. I don't know. I mean, I would have picked the Hawks. But if not,
6.
it's definitely. Yeah, I think it's definitely going 6 or 7 if the Bucks do win.
Dude, I'm loving it, man. When all the big stars went out, I was talking to a few of my friends, and I told them, I was like, man, the playoff ratings, they're going to die. They're going to be so bad because the Nets lost, the Lakers lost, no LeBron, no KD, no Steph. This is gonna be boring. I was honestly disappointed. But this playoffs has been so exhilarating.
Yeah, it's
and
really
so good. Entertaining. Every game, every single game is
right.
Dude, it's so entertaining. And I think that, this new era of stars, a lot of people are saying that it's not even a new era of stars. They're saying that it's just because of the injuries. But regardless of why it's happening, it's fun. And I'm here for it. I'm here to watch. I would love a Trae Young, Devin Booker finals, man. It would be entertaining. I hope I get to see the Suns play the Hawks in the finals. I'm lived in Atlanta for a while, so I guess I can cheer for the Hawks. I'm definitely not a giant Hawks fan, but I'll call them my Hawks. But we got the next game we're going to is the Suns Clippers. Game 4 is tomorrow at 9 Eastern. It's in LA, and the Suns currently lead 2-1. A series never starts until the Clippers are down 0-2. Where do you think this series is going, Ray?
Yeah, it's crazy, huh? They were down 0-2 to the Mavs and 0-2 to the Jazz, and they came back both times and won the series. With the Jazz, they won 4 in a row. That Clippers team's crazy. They're really interesting. With this Kawhi injury, they've sort of banded together, and everyone's chipping in a little bit. Reggie Jackson's really, really emerged. Paul George, as much as people want to roast him, and it's funny and everything, but he really has stepped up to the plate in a big way in a lot of these games. Certainly hitting that half-court shot was really big for their momentum, and they held on yesterday for that win. Or yesterday or 2 days ago, one of the two. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll definitely be a series. I mean, I'd like to think Clippers tie it up. I think Suns win in close, but I definitely think the Clippers are up to the task of taking them on. They've been coached well too, by the way. People don't talk about this enough. Ty Lue has coached them very well. I think a lot of people are roasting Ty Lue after they went down 0-2 to the Mavs, and he has done an incredible job, and especially now with no Kawhi, of keeping that team together and really putting the correct pieces on the board and outwitting a lot of the coaches he's gone up against.
Yeah, I mean, when they lost Kawhi, a lot of people thought they were just going to die. They were just going to roll over and die. And they actually have, Ty Lue's made great adjustments, and they've been performing well. So, I mean, I think the series could obviously go either way. It's pretty close so far. I want the Suns to win, but I don't think the Clippers would, be an unentertaining finals. So I'm okay with it either way. But we're going to jump into next is the NHL. I'm going to let Ray Swag take the lead on this. What do you got to tell me, Ray?
Yeah, guys. So we got a really interesting NHL playoffs going on here. Stanley Cup playoffs. So I've been getting way more into the NHL recently, especially this year. My Carolina Hurricanes were a 1 seed in their I don't know if division's the right word. I forgot what they call them in the playoffs. But my Carolina Hurricanes were a 1 seed. Unfortunately, they fell in the second round of the Tampa Bay Lightning, last year's Stanley Cup champions. And currently, the Lightning and the Islanders are playing tonight for Game 7 for the right to go to the NHL Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals.
Ooh.
And yeah, which is going to be a great matchup, right? But the big news in the NHL is the Montreal Canadiens, who have not won a cup since 1993. They made the finals last night. They made the Stanley Cup. Who they beat? They beat the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games. And it's really interesting, right? Because the Montreal Canadiens had the last seed going into the playoffs. They had the worst record. It was sub 500, and they're now in the finals. It'd be like, for example, if like the Washington football team, who was in the playoffs last year for the NFL, if they made the Super Bowl, for example. So it's pretty insane. Apparently, they have the most cup wins of any team in history as well, but haven't been to the finals since '93. And everyone counted them out, but they beat the Leafs. They beat a lot of really good teams, and it's really been kind of a crazy Cinderella story here. They were down 1-3 in the first round as well, which is crazy in games. They made a 3-1 comeback. And apparently yesterday, when they won when they won to go to the right to the finals, it was Quebec's national holiday or something. So that was pretty kind of a cool little thing for them too. And Canadian teams really don't win championships often, for the last decade in the NHL. So it's kind of like all Canada's kind of like they call them the Habs, go around the Habs. But just imagine the storyline, right? If the Lightning win tonight, you're gonna have a defending champion Lightning versus one of the biggest underdogs, Montreal Canadiens. So NHL is kind of spicing it up right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of hockey too much, but I think I feel like I have to watch. I feel like it's my obligation as a sports fan to watch this David and Goliath story, like you said last night when we were talking about it. I thought that was the perfect phrasing for it, is David and Goliath. With the reigning champions versus the extreme underdogs. These guys who were the bottom seed, negative win rate. And it'll be entertaining. My dad likes hockey, or he used to. I know when my city, Lubbock, had it's like the minor league of hockey. They had a team called the Cotton something. I don't know. But my dad used to go to the games. He loved it. So I guess I'm gonna ask if he wants to watch with me, and I'll be entertained hopefully. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So we're gonna go right into our next topic, which is gonna be Ray Swag and I's rather, top 10 QBs going into 2021. And I'm gonna lead it off here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see our picks. If not, you gotta just listen for them. My pick for number 10, top 10 best QBs going in 2021, I got Ryan Tannehill. He was good last year. His stats were good. He had 36 touchdown passes with 3,800 yards. He was phenomenal. He's playing above average, and especially considering they're a run first team, those are good numbers. And I do dog on the Titans a lot on this podcast if you listened, but one of the reasons I have Tannehill in my top 10 is because I think Derrick Henry will be taking a step back this year in terms of usage and stability, stamina, all that, and I think Ryan Tannehill will take his place, or make up for the step back of Derrick Henry. But I think he's going to outperform, other people that you could have up there, like, Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, and Matt Stafford. I had all those guys' names mixed up, but yeah. I think he'll just outperform those guys. Who do you got as number 10, Ray?
I got Matt Ryan. I know, ever since 28-3 happened, the comeback in the Super Bowl, I think people kind of dog on him, but, I really think he's a solid quarterback. He's an MVP. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to multiple NFC championships. I think he's very solid. He's a very good quarterback. He had over 4,000 yards last year, and he'll have one of those like quiet good years, kind of like Desean Watson had last year, where like their team does bad but he does good. Like Matt Ryan will have a bunch of those where like he'll just have a good. Yeah. He's always had a good like passing attack, and I like Matt Ryan. That's why I put him at 10.
Yeah, I feel like there's a group at 10. You get out of the like elite 6-7, or not elite, but like elite and borderline elite 6-7, and there's like this group of guys, and they're all like, at that same spot, and I feel like it's really hard to make an argument either way. It's kind of just what you think by the team built around them, and I think with securing Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to break that top 10 easier than Matt Ryan would. But if it went the other way, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Who do you got in your 9th spot, Ray?
I got Matt Stafford. I think he's been underrated, undervalued for a long time in the NFL community, just because he's been on the Lions, which is one of the like worst franchises of all time. It might be the worst franchise because the Browns are looking good now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, such a mess there. Poor guy's been given everything to the city. And with or without Calvin Johnson, he's shown he's been very, very good, very elite. He has some of the greatest comebacks as well. He makes some like crazy comebacks. He's got a gunslinger of an arm, and I'm really excited to see what he does in Los Angeles. I truly think he'll be. I'm not even kidding. I'll say it right now. I think he'll be in the MVP conversation coming up this year.
Really?
I think he's gonna have an incredibly good season with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, a lot of this good scheme that Sean McVay's got going on in LA. And I'm excited to see what Matt Stafford can do because I really do think he's an elite quarterback.
Yeah, they kept a lot of their weapons. They have Cam Akers, too, on his second year. So if he turns out to be a good play, then I could definitely see him being top 10. That would not surprise me at all. But, like I said, there's this group of all those players that, are all battling for that top 10 spot. And I could definitely see Matt Stafford making it. But at number 9, I have Kyler Murray. He Big 12 boy, he's elite, emo. He improved in every category from 2019 to 2020. So he's obviously only getting better. Cliff Kingsbury, Texas Tech coaching legend. I'll always have bias towards that guy. I think he's, learning how to play in the NFL better and learning how to use Kyler Murray better because that dual threat, athleticism is not something that he really had at Tech. Patrick Mahomes at Tech was a dual threat. Like, he can move, but he's not explosive like Kyler Murray is. He doesn't he's not explosive on the ground, sorry. So I think he is still adjusting to having that dual threat quarterback. But I think him being able to move on the ground as well as having an amazing arm is what sets him above QBs like Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and Ryan Tannehill.
No, I like that.
Yeah, so that's why I got him at 9. And I feel like that's probably a fair position for him considering he didn't have like a crazy season last year. It was really middle of the pack, to be honest. But this is 2021 predictions, and I think he's going to take another step up this year. I'm going to move on to my 8 pick, which is a second-year player out of Los Angeles. Got Justin Herbert. What do you think of that, and who do you got, Ray?
Yeah, I love Justin Herbert. I think it's a great pick. He's already shown that he's definitely a top-tier quarterback. I didn't have him in the top 10 just because I don't think he's proven enough yet, just because it's just his first year. But in terms of talent, you absolutely could put him there right now. He's Very strong. Certainly was, you could say he was top 10 if you just look at last season alone, which of course is all he's ever played anyway. So yeah, he's, really good talent. I'm excited to see with some of the pieces they put around him, if he makes even a bigger leap this year.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I picked him for that reason. He had a phenomenal last season. I don't see him falling off. He's really young. I think he's going to get better every season. Him and Kyler Murray are both 23. They're both younger than us, which makes my stomach turn when I think about it. But I think that he's going to come out this year and really play just as good, if not better. And I think he'll be a top 10 quarterback this year. Who did you have at 8, Ray?
So my number 8 was Dak Prescott. I definitely consider him a elite quarterback. I think that he's carried his team for a good amount of time. I'll be interested to see kind of how he happens this season after his new contract. And, he gets CeeDee Lamb in his second year, and a lot of the offensive line is going to be, kind of looking better. I'm excited to see what they do. I hope he has a good year. I don't want to see him hurt again, obviously. He's a good player. But I don't know if he's necessarily taken the jump to be in the upper echelon of elite tier. I definitely think he rounds out that, not middle tier, but he's really good. Like I said, I just don't see him in the top 70 yet. But I know you do, so we're gonna think about that.
Yeah, it's perfect transition because my number 7 is Dak Prescott, and it's just one above yours. They're pretty similar spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, dude, in his first 4.5 games last year, he had 9 touchdowns and 1,900 yards with a 68% completion percentage. If he, it's not completely realistic to say someone's going to do that the whole season. But if he did, which is possible, he'd be going in to the he'd be ending the season with 6,300 yards and 42 touchdowns. And it's those numbers, he was literally dragging the Cowboys by the ankles. Their defense was the most atrocious thing on earth. And I think that with his defense, the steps the Cowboys have made in the offseason to better that defense, on the other side, they're pretty much the whole draft was centered around defense. His weapons haven't changed. He's still got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and we're coming back from injuries. The offensive line, they're just going to be way better. They've got La'el Collins back. Zach Martin was banged up. It's just they've got sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Tyron Smith is back as well. They're going to be able to protect him better, and as long as that team can stay healthy, unlike last year, I mean, I'm projecting 7 to be modest because I know that a majority of NFL fans hate Dak Prescott, but I could realistically see him being a top 5 quarterback this year. I'm going to be moving in to Ray Swag. What is your number 7 pick?
So my number 7 is going to be Lamar Jackson, and I think he's a good player. I think he's still got some stuff to prove. Hasn't really done too much in the playoffs. He's obviously really good in the regular season. I don't want to compare him to a Russell Westbrook yet because I think it's a little disrespectful. But I definitely think he definitely has some room to grow in the playoffs, some maturity to grow. I shouldn't say maturity, but more handling the moment when it's a big moment in the playoffs. But he's definitely a really good player. I'm excited to see what he continues to do, and I think he's definitely worthy of a number 7 spot.
Yeah. So when I was making my list, I originally had him at 10, and
yeah, you don't even have him in your top 10.
I don't even have him in my top 10 anymore.
It's insane.
I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I think Ryan Tannehill's better. I think he's going to play better this year. I think Kyler Murray's better. I think I think Lamar's better on the ground, but I think as an overall dual threat quarterback, Kyler Murray's a better dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, my projection for him. I just couldn't find a spot for him. I mean, he's amongst that group. I didn't mention him earlier. I kind of forgot about him. But he's amongst that group that, he could easily be in that range of tops, 7 to 12 players. He's interchangeable in there somewhere. He's definitely not a bad quarterback at all. He's extremely talented on the ground, a generational talent on the ground. Mm-hmm. His arm strength, it's there. He's inconsistent, but it's there. But I didn't have him in my top 10. I just felt like there's better players, and I guess we'll see. But it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up being a top 7 quarterback this season. So on to our top 6. We did talk about this before. Raceway and I have almost an identical top 6, but I feel like most people who watch NFL closely and really understand the sport would have a similar top 6 right now. We only have 2 players switched in it, so I guess we'll just go through it, and when we get to there, we'll talk about it. But at 6, we both have Thomas Brady. Why'd you put him at 6, Ray?
I mean, I think a lot of people didn't even have top 10 at some point last year. He was struggling early,
Yep.
But I think he kind of reminded people he's still the GOAT. I think, he obviously still has some limitations, but I think his IQ makes up for any physical limitations he has right now, and he's put in the work and led the team to another Super Bowl, and doesn't show signs of like stopping. He might be slowing down a bit, but he's certainly not slowing down like Drew Brees was, for example.
Yeah.
Drew Brees slowed down real quick, it felt like. And Brady's still kind of chugging along, so we'll see what happens, but I definitely think he's deserving of at least 6, if not higher.
Yeah, as a lifelong Patriots fan, my dad was, raised in Massachusetts, and then he was also born in Detroit, so he was a fan of Tom Brady before he even entered the NFL. I feel like, out of respect, I almost had to put him in my top 5, but to remain unbiased, I had to throw in my 6 because, like, just thinking about it, like, he turned 44 August 3rd. Yeah. 44. Like, dude. And I remember it was Brett Favre when he was 44 was that year that he really died down. And
Gotcha.
Obviously, Tom Brady probably treats his body a lot better than Brett Favre ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to believe that he can maintain the level of play this year again. And the thing is, not like last year was even. He was good on PFF compared to other QBs. But statistically, it wasn't a top 5 season for him throughout his career. It wasn't top 5 in yards, touchdowns, or QBR. So it wasn't like he was playing, at his best. So I think he's going to take a step back. The team around him all stayed. So you can't really say that the team isn't going to dissolve around him. But, I guess we'll have to see. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the best quarterback in the league or the second best this year. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Who do you have at 5, Swag?
My number 5 guy is Desean Watson. I think he's still, obviously a beast player. He had a great season last year, like MVP candidate level season. I think it's tough to say bad things about who are in your top 5. I don't.
Yeah.
Why he's not.
Absolutely.
Higher, which but I definitely think he's a beast, and I'm excited to see what he does this season if he plays. But yeah, no, I like Desean Watson a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's. Just to add on, I don't think he's in the I just don't think he's as good as the top 4. Is it simple as that for me?
Yeah. He definitely. I mean, this top 5, they're all great. But
right.
So for my 5, I have Russell Wilson. So spoiler alert, whatever. The only 2 we have switched. Racewag has Russell Wilson at 2, and I have Desean Watson at 2.
Yeah,
they're literally switched. But so we'll just talk about those 2 players now and kind of skip them later. So I am going to argue your Desean Watson point. Last year was his best season. As bad as his team was, he had 112.4 QBR. He's 25 years old. He's still getting better every year. He is quite literally a generational talent who was cursed with being a Texan.
I agree.
And the thing is, like when I thought about the Texans before looking at their depth chart, I was like, man, he doesn't have any help. Like, he's going to be awful. And I look at their depth chart, and they have Brandon Cooks, who's good. He's 27. He had 1,000 yards last year. He's not even the bad target. And then we have Randall Cobb. He's older, but he's still decent. Chris Conley, who is a good wide receiver 3. Texas Tech legend Kiki Cutie. Don't forget about him. Bill O'Brien hated him, so he didn't get to play much. But now that Bill O'Brien's gone, I bet he's going to take a big leap this year. Jordan Atkins, he's a good tight end. I mean, he's nothing special. He's a tight end 1 for a team. But then they also, for running backs, they're stacked. They have David Johnson, who was the best running back in 2016. It's not debatable. They have Philip Lindsay, who is a great back. He was good paired with MG3 or Melvin Ingram. I think it's Melvin Ingram sorry, not Melvin Ingram. What's his name in the Chargers? Melvin Gordon. Sorry.
He's on the Broncos, but yeah.
Wait, Philip Lindsay was paired with Melvin Gordon, right, before the Broncos?
Oh, they were paired.
Oh, sorry, it was the Broncos. You're right. My bad. He got traded from the Chargers, man. Sorry, I got distracted there.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, and then they also have Mark Ingram, who's like a veteran, to like come in there and like kind of help him out, which I didn't even know he was on that team. Did you?
I heard about it. Yeah, that the Ravens didn't want to re-sign him.
And then, this last running back I'm going to be bringing up is one of my favorite players in the NFL. He is low-key nasty. He is severely underrated. Rex, the bald Burkhead. He is on that team. And, that's a lot of talent. That's a good running back committee they got back there. That's a lot of versatility, different skill sets, along with their offensive line's a little weak. But I think Desean Watson will be good. I think he's going to be the second best QB in the league this next year. I think if he does play, I think he's going to be extremely good with what he's got and the second best talent in the league. So you have Russell Wilson at 2. Let's talk about that now because I have him at 5. So,
yeah, I mean, I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just going to ask, why do you have him at 2?
Yeah. I mean, I think Russell Wilson is unbelievable. I think he makes every team that he's on, 50 times better. The amount of, first of all the offensive talent they had, except Marshawn Lynch, was, complete, randoms, and he made them all better. Curse, nobody knew Curse was. Doug Baldwin was, a 6th round, he was, undrafted or something.
Yeah.
No one knew who these guys were, and Russ made them so good. And everyone says he got carried by the Legion of Boom, but people forget, for them to even make the Super Bowl back in the day, when he was, a second-year quarterback, by the way, he threw that pass to Curse in overtime in Green Bay to win it. Russell Wilson was always good. He's always a smart decision-maker. He's not run first, but he can run. I think he's an absolute beast. I think last year they had a little bit of trouble with internal stuff with people not getting along, but I think this year he's going to come out with the fire. And I absolutely think. And if Patrick Mahomes wasn't around, I would 100% put him on.
Yeah, I can understand him being in the 2 position for sure. All these guys I could honestly.
Right. No, 100%.
But the only thing that worries me is that how he plays in the end of the seasons. His seasons are just so inconsistent. I think for the past 2 or 3 years, really, I've said that if he can maintain the level of play that he has at the beginning of a season, he could very well win an MVP and a Super Bowl, but he never does. And that's the only reason he even fell out of my top 3 is because of the inconsistent play the last few years throughout the course of the season. But, I mean, we say that, but in 2020, he still had a career high in passing touchdowns, career high in completion percentage. So it's not like he's playing bad. It's just that he starts off the season playing like the MVP and playing like, the Hawks are just going to take the Super Bowl by sweep. And then he just kind of dies down and, he doesn't play half as good as he was for a period of games. He'll have breakout games where he does pop off and win the game for his team. But I just unless he's very consistent this year, I don't see him being a top 3 quarterback.
Yeah,
so that's why I had him at 5. We both have Josh Allen at 4. I think it's probably a very apparent why to most people, but why do you have him there, Ray?
I mean, I think he's just, really come into his own now. Big body, big arm, everything. I mean, everything you want in a quarterback. It's he's kind of like Cam Newton except accurate. Yeah, I mean, honestly though, put him. Dude, Josh Allen's a beast, man. He's like MVP Cam, really.
Yeah.
That's how what he reminds me of. Reminds me a lot of MVP Cam the way he plays.
Yeah. I saw a tweet yesterday that I thought was actually a very good take, but when I thought about it, I was like, eh. It was a tweet. It was Josh Allen took a leap between the 2019 and 2020 season, and then it's like a picture. It says the leap with like a colon, and it's like a picture of Stephon Diggs. That's the leap he took. And
I mean,
it's true. Like Stephon Diggs is really that guy. Like he is that guy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
He is that guy, pal.
Literally, exactly. That's what we need. With Stephon Diggs healthy, I don't see him regressing. If Stephon Diggs was to get injured, or even John Brown to get injured, I could see him regressing just because I think that him having weapons has made him so much more confident in as a quarterback. Like I think it's really helped him in his mojo, and I just don't see him getting worse. He's in his third year now, and he's going to only be getting better. So I think we both have him at 4, and I think that's a very safe spot for him. If he does regress, I guess we'll look like clowns. But at 3, we both have the same thing as, again, Aaron Rodgers, the reigning MVP. Team hasn't made too many changes. They re-signed like a lot of people. Did you just put Aaron Rodgers at 3 because you feel like, that's just what he's going to be, right?
No, I mean, he's a beast. I would personally rather take Russell Wilson. I don't get all the off-season drama of Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is really, really good for sure, but I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not gonna say Devontae Adams makes him look better, but I think definitely it helps having an elite wide receiver in Devontae Adams. Which not to say that Russell Wilson doesn't have good weapons, because he does, but I don't know. I think Russell Wilson has a worse coaching staff that is tailored towards him, which it's not. It's tailored towards a running game.
Yeah, true. And
Aaron Rodgers, their whole offense is basically built around him, as it should be, because he's an absolute beast. He's a reigning MVP. He's a future Hall of Famer. But I don't know. That's just a little niche between 2 and 1. You could really switch them out between 3 and 2. Sorry, Rodgers and Wilson. But anyway,
yeah. I mean, honestly, it might even become surprising to people who follow me on Twitter that I even put Aaron Rodgers at 3.
Yeah.
Because I dog on him a lot, but it has nothing to do with the talent he possesses. It has to do with the praise he receives by, Twitter and social media. And people can't praise Aaron Rodgers without trying to take down Tom Brady or, take away from Tom Brady.
Right.
And I think that's always slightly irritated me because, Tom Brady will do something and if he hits a wide open receiver, you'll see people on Twitter who are Rodgers fans, saying, "Oh wow, Brady hits a top receiver, he's so good," just bashing him, in a ironic way. But then if I remember in the NFC Championship game, Rodgers hit Tanyan and he was wide open, and I saw my timeline just tweet about how good Rodgers was when he hit a wide open tight end. There was literally no one within 10 yards of him.
Yeah.
And it's like he's held to a different standard for some reason. And it's weird because he hasn't accomplished anything to make him be put at that standard. But I think him being a top 3 quarterback last year, he wasn't in 2019, but last year he definitely was the best quarterback. I think you just can't really not put him there. But
no, I agree.
Moving on, we already talked about it. I had Desean Watson at 2. We talked about why that is. So we're going to be moving on to the most surprising pick of the entire list. Racewag, who did we put down for number 1?
Shocking. We put the freaking bomber, freaking beast himself, freaking Hail Mary King,
Texas Tech legend.
Patrick Mahomes. Freaking Patrick Mahomes, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, can't say anything else, bro.
I know.
He is what he is, bro. Freaking, yeah. Best talent of all time, you can say, probably. I don't know.
It's funny because for all my QBs, I always write notes for these. For all my QBs, I put, notes of why, so I wouldn't forget, why I think they're better. I wouldn't lose my train of thought or something. I just wrote his name. I don't need, we don't need to sit here and say why he's the best. Nobody's going to sit here and, get their panties in a knot over it. We don't need to sit here and gas him up. He's number 1. I mean, maybe he won't be after this year. Let's probably not. But Texas Tech legend, number 1. Let's move on because there's no debating it. Raymond, So we're moved on to topic 3. Sorry, kind of almost forgot the transition. Our 5 fantasy guarantees. I'm so excited for this segment. Are you as excited as me?
I'm so hyped, man. You know I love fantasy, bro. I'm all about fantasy.
Yeah, man. We are probably gonna, come this season start maybe do a draft with a huddle break draft.
Bro. We're gonna do some good stuff. Y'all better stay tuned. We're gonna have some good fantasy stuff.
It's gonna be lit, dude. We love fantasy here. Talked about it earlier. Ray and I have been doing fantasy for years. We've been, following sports closely. I think fantasy is part of the reason that I fell in love with football so much, because it adds an X factor that makes it even more entertaining because you have stake in the game. But anyways, so this segment, we're pretty much just going to be saying 5 players who we think are going to be fantasy, titans. They're going to be able to give you those numbers. So, let's say we pick someone who's maybe a dark horse, maybe someone who's not so much of a dark horse. It's just 5 people we know are going to be great. And I'll let Ray Swag lead us off here. Who is your first pick?
All right, well, come on now. I got to put my boy on the first here. Got to go with my boy, Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
I mean, he had a little bit of a down year last year. Got some injuries. But what he did play, he did awesome. Played great against the Chiefs. I think it was his last game of the season. And I'm so excited for him to come back. I think him and Sam Darnold are going to have an incredible connection. And I think CMC is going to be that number 1 fantasy player. I think every draft should be taking him number 1.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. It's crazy to say that, he number 1 pick. Even though you took Derrick Henry as your best running back, he's a better fantasy play because he gets the catches and he is used so much. And what's crazy is that he gets a lower snap percentage than most running backs, yet his usage is way higher. He's just a weapon, dude. He was born to be an athlete. His dad was an NFL player. His mom, she was a tennis pro, right? And or something like that. Soccer. And his grandpa was an Olympian. The guy is literally he was born. His brothers are both in college football. The family's just athletic freaks. They're the Gronkowskis, man. They're all just athletic gods.
Or the Watts.
Yeah, the Watts is a better example, actually. But yeah, I mean, I love that. I don't think anyone would ever be no, that's a shit take. No one's gonna say that. Yeah. So, let me go into my first pick. I didn't go for my favorite player. I tried to dig deep for this. I really wanted to give some plays that I did a good amount of research for it. My first player that I'm going to be picking is Brandon Cooks from the Houston Texans, and let me tell you why. So last year, Brandon Cooks wasn't going until probably the 4th or 5th round, maybe 3rd, maybe. And he's 27 years old. He's the wide receiver 1 for the Texans with Desean Watson, who's a top 5 quarterback. No, that's not debatable. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's throwing to him. He's a wide receiver 1 of that team. He had 81 receptions for 1,150 yards and 6 touchdowns, and that was with Will Fuller on his team. They're going to lean on him even harder this year. And he could have 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns, and he might not go till the 3rd or 4th round. I think he is a very solid, sneaky fantasy guarantee. If he stays healthy, he's going to be great. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like it. I think definitely if Deshaun Watson plays and everything, I think it's definitely solid. No Will Fuller, like you say. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a great pick. What he'll probably be a 3rd rounder. You think maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it really depends, man. I haven't done a draft. If you're doing a 10-person draft, I can think of 30 players I'd take ahead of him. So, he very well could go in the 4th. But I think he'll be a really good play, and I think he'll actually probably carry some teams. I'm gonna go ahead and give my next pick as well. This is a more obvious play. I'm going with Tyreek Hill. I think he's gonna be the wide receiver 1 next year. I think he's gonna get the most fantasy points out of all wide receivers in 2021. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime, just like Brandon Cooks. He's only getting better with Patrick Mahomes, only getting better every single year. Last year, he had 15 total touchdowns and 1,500 total yards, and I think it'll get even better this year. He's not going to regress. If he stays healthy, he will be the wide receiver 1. What are your thoughts?
No, I like it. I think it's great. Yeah, I have no complaints, man. You can't go wrong with Tyreek Hill, bro.
Yep. All right, what's your number or your second pick, I guess?
All right, I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have an incredible year this year.
Yeah.
What he did last year, he put up great numbers as a rookie, and like half the games he didn't even do that good, especially early in the season. And then like later in the season, he was having some insane games, like 40 point fantasy games. Yeah, and this year with Carson Wentz, who personally I think is an upgrade over Phillip Rivers, I think the team's even going to be even better, and I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be like a year under his belt. I think he's going to be ready to go. I'll be taking him in my leagues. Let me tell you that.
Oh yeah, and I've been looking at mock drafts, and I follow a lot of the fantasy community, so I've seen a lot of people, and he's projected to go like top 5 in leagues.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. Yeah,
like he's actually, which is I feel it kind of worries me because while I do think he's going to be great, it kind of reminds me of like a Kenyon Drake from last year. You know what I mean? Where he was going like really early, and then he didn't turn out to be because they didn't he doesn't have a big enough sample size. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's a bad pick at all, but I don't think I would take him top 5. Like when in my head thinking of the top 5 fantasy players. So I know you didn't say top 5. But I'm saying, like, in the mock drafts that I'm seeing, where he's projected to go, like, 4. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. You're telling me you're going to take him over, like, Saquon? Like, yeah, I don't know about that. But
isn't Marlon Mack still on that team?
I'm not sure. I honestly haven't looked at the Colts in a
he's still in the Colts,
month or so. But, yeah. And, yeah, that's another point. But he is projected to go pretty high. But he's definitely going to have a good season. I don't know if it's top 5 potential, like the mock drafts are saying. But he's definitely a guarantee. What's your next pick, Ray?
Yeah, my next pick. So now I'm going to get into a rookie here I really like is Travis Etienne out of the Jaguars.
Yes.
So he's got the connection with Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. I mean, they were together forever. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at, well, what about James Robinson? Running back for the Jags, starting running back. But Travis Etienne, from what I hear, they really like putting him out in kind of Christian McCaffrey type packages where he can catch more balls, and especially in PPR formats, he's going to be huge right there. So, I'm not saying he's going to freaking, break the slate every week, but I think, he could be definitely look to pick him up in your leagues here because I think he could be a real interesting, especially Trevor Lawrence. Young quarterbacks always need security blankets. And a running back, you can just, like a James White type player, you can just kind of dump it off and he'll go run and get 10 yards and get you 2 points for fantasy if it's PPR. They're really important. So definitely look to pick up Travis Etienne this year.
Yeah, I think that's for this like segment that we're doing. I think that's like the perfect pick because he's not going to be he's not going to be in the top 5 rounds. Like you're not going to take him in the top 50 of NFL players. But he's a player that you can take, and I saw reports that he was lining up as a wide receiver in the whatever their practices are called. Sorry. Training camps, yeah. He was lining up as a receiver. And, people aren't going to be thinking especially like you said with James Robinson, like they're not going to be thinking, oh, I want to, why would I take Travis Etienne? Like I'm going to just take James Robinson. You could get him in the 6th, 7th round. And if he gets you 10 points a week, that is a good pick. So I think, again, for this segment, it is a perfect pick. I really do like it. I mean, dude, I don't see how you can mess this up really, unless you're taking maybe picking like Jalen Hurts because that's not a guarantee. But you didn't. So, but I'm gonna go into my next pick, which I'll stay on the subject of rookie running backs. I'm gonna take another rookie running back out of Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, the 6'2", 230 first round draft pick out of Alabama. They don't got James Conner anymore. He's the starting running back for that team. He averaged 6 yards a carry at Bama through over 600 carries. He had 30 touchdowns in 13 games in 2020, and he has never fumbled in his college career, ever, not once. The guy, he's literally the perfect running back for Pittsburgh. Like he fits their formula. They always have some running back that is just popping off every single week, and it's going to be Najee Harris this year. What are your thoughts?
No, I love the pick. I think he's an absolute beast at Alabama, and I'm excited to see what he'll do in the NFL here. I think Pittsburgh's going to be good for him. I think him and Mike Tomlin are going to do some good stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think I could see Najee Harris going in probably the 2nd, 3rd round. He's definitely a lock for me. I would never slander. I mean, if you're taking him top 10, I'm gonna slander you, but I wouldn't slander anyone taking him second round, third round.
He could go top 10. I just want you to know. He could go top 10.
Dude, I don't know, man. Because when you think about top 10, you gotta think: is he gonna outperform 10 other players? Is he gonna outperform all those already top running backs, or like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce type? Maybe like when I say second round, I mean like 11th, 12th, like in that 10 to 20 range. I could see him going. But I'm gonna hop into my last pick, which is gonna be. Wait, is it my last pick? Yeah, it is. Wait, sorry. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. He played phenomenal last year with Nick Mullins at QB. 60 receptions, 750 yards, 5 touchdowns. He didn't have George Kittle majority of the season, which means he was absorbing a lot of pressure. I think with Trey Lance and Jimmy G throwing to him, he's going to be a great pick that'll be available in the later rounds. What are your thoughts, Ray?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good pick for sure. I don't think you can go wrong with it. I think he's definitely up and coming.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of speed, a lot of athletic ability, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year. Like you say, Trey Lance coming in, and I think he's going to be good. I like it for a breakout pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean last year, man, when he was playing, he was great. So, you've got 2 picks left. Let's go through your next one, real quick.
Let's do it. All right. Next one, Jamar Chase, wide receiver for the Bengals.
Yes, dude. I almost put him.
Yeah, everything that I've heard so far from Bengals camp, all my sources there tell me that it's going to be that him and Joe are already, they're linking up like wildfire.
Making out in the locker room?
Yeah. I've heard good stuff. They're going to be good together, man. They were so good at LSU, and I'm excited to see the connection again. And I think Jamar Chase is one of the most NFL-ready players coming out of the draft.
Absolutely. He's probably the most. I would say he's the most NFL-ready. I mean, he took a year off because of COVID, and all he did was train because he knew he was going to the NFL. He knew that he was going to be starting on a team as a probably wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 in September of 2021. And I think that he is probably going to be the most successful wide receiver rookie out of this draft class. So I love the pick, Ray. I love it.
Sir.
Who is going to be your last pick? Who is your last fantasy guarantee?
Last pick is my personal favorite for most NFL ready rookie, which is going to be Kyle Pitts out of the Falcons. Yeah, talked about Matt Ryan a little bit earlier. And I think him and Kyle Pitts. Matt Ryan loves the tight end. He did it with Austin Hooper. He did it with Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
He did it a little bit last year with Hayden Hurst as well. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be that new guy that, especially with the departure of Julio Jones, I'll be trying to take Kyle Pitts every chance I get. I'm so excited to have him in fantasy. I think he's going to be an absolute beast. I think he's going to come out and just he'll be. I predict he will be top 3 tight ends by the end of the season. Boom.
Yeah, I mean top 3 is. I mean he's a generational talent, man. He's like the best tight end prospect I think people are saying of all time. So. I mean, you can't go wrong there, dude. I like him. I'm excited to watch him. I'm excited to take him. I'm curious where he'll go in drafts because, tight end stock is it's really top heavy. So a lot of the times you'll see like George Kittle and Travis Kelce taken early, and then you won't see another tight end for like 2 rounds. So I also with the guarantees, man. If he goes in the 3rd round, you just got yourself a steal. Because I can't imagine he doesn't have a top 3, top 4 tight end fantasy performance.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's our top 5. We had Brandon Cooks, CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris. Wait, I think I missed one, actually, now that I think about it.
Really?
Yeah. I did not mention Rain Dakota Prescott.
No, there you go.
You
can't forget your guy. Come
on
now.
Know, dude. I feel disgusting. Like, I wrote all the names down, and then I went out of order just because to make it more interesting for the pod. And I'm realizing as I look back at my notes that I forgot to say Rain Dakota Prescott. That's okay. Well, that's my lock then. That's my fantasy guarantee, my fifth and final. I mean, we both had him in. You had him at 7, right? Or was it 8? You had him at 8. I had him at 7. I think he's going to be. He was the number 1 fantasy QB in 2020 before injury. The team only got better. They got Tyron Smith, Leo Collins back. Zach Martin was banged up too. That offensive line protects him. He's going to hit those weapons and put up numbers, man. If you can take him. Because people are going to take Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Desean Watson. They're going to take him before Dak. If you can get Dak in the 5th, 6th round, man, that's a steal. So even deeper, like 7th round, it's a steal. So, yeah, wow, I can't believe I forgot about Dak. I'm going to have to text him, apologize for that. But, yeah, man, that was fun. I hope everyone who's still listening liked that a lot. We're going to be talking more about fantasy as the season gets closer. Our next episode will be 2 weeks from now. I think it's the 9th. I'm really excited for that one. We're going to be talking about the AFC and who we think is going to win from each division. But yeah, that's our show for today. If you listened all the way through to the end, thank you so much for sticking around. If you guys have any feedback or suggestions for us, make sure to let us know on one of our social medias. It's at Huddle Break on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or if you want to directly speak to us, it's at racewag_ and at not_K4. We'll be back in July. And once again, thank you for listening, and thanks for taking a break from the huddle with us.